Hey there everyone, this is a better Tamriel, and today I'm going to show you my Templar tank build. This is a Templar tank that I always use for almost every trial, so with that being said, let's take a look. As a Templar, there are 4 skills that you must have: Channel Focus, Blazing Shield, Radiant Aura, Ritual of Retribution. As for the passives, there are 4 passive skills that make this build such a great build: Illuminate, Spell Wall, Master Ritualist, Sacred Ground. Starting with my monster sets, I'm running Nazare, which adds health to my build, and it also debuffs the enemies around me within 12 meters. Other sets you can run are Archdroid or Tremor Scale, just because they're really strong as a tank and they debuff the enemies. For my 5-piece set gear, I am wearing one of the most powerful sets on ESO, which is Perilescent War. This set is such an incredible set because not only it adds health to your build, but it also gives you and 11 group members Perilescent War. This means it's going to increase your weapon and spell damage. It also makes you as a tank have damage reduction as members from your team continue to die. So it is a very good set for the tank. And lastly, for this build, I am running starting all pieces and the multi-enchantment for all of them. For my second set, I am running Psych Seal because it gives me magic and stamina, and the 5th piece gives me Major Force, which increases everybody's critical damage by 20%. For my weapons, I am running the Master Sword and Shield. You could also double bar staff if you'd like. By doing so, you will slightly increase the group's DPS. I am running Sword and Shield because I want to run Shield Discipline on my ultimate. And last but not least, for the jewelry, I'm going with the Infused, and for the enchantment, I'm going with the Magical Recovery. For this Templar's race, I am going with the Nor because of its incredible passive skills, such as Revealer, which increases your experience gain with 2-handed skill line by 50%, increases the duration of any consumed drink by 15 minutes, and that is very important to have when you're gaining XP. It also is resistant to frost, increases your health by 1000 and frost resistance by 4620. And also Stalwart, which increases your max stamina. And it also, for every damage you take, you get 5 ultimate back. That is very important. And lastly, we cannot forget about the physical and spell resistance that the Nor provides for us. Other good tanking races to tank are Argonian and Orc, because they have some really amazing passive skill lines that you can choose from. My attributes, as you can see, they're all over the place, but I'm running 16 on Magicka, 18 on health, and 33 stamina. I know it doesn't make sense, but trust me, it is the way to go for this build. And if you haven't done so yet, I will strongly suggest that you make yourself a vampire because of its incredible passive skills. Like the Undead passive skill, which reduces your damage taken by 30% based on your missing health. Also the Unnatural Movement, which reduces the cost of your sprint by 50% and makes you invisible after 3 seconds of sprinting. And it also is very good for the tank when you want to evade enemies on dungeons or any sort of ESO content. For my Warfare champion points, I am going pretty standard on this tank build. Duelist Rebuff, which reduces my damage taking by a single target attacks by 3% per stage. Unassailable, which reduces my damage taken of an area of effect attacks by 3% per stage. Bulwark, which when I have a shield or a frost up equipped, my spell and physical resistance is increased by 1900. And lastly, Enduring Resolve, which reduces my damage taken by damage over time attacks by 3% per stage. As for my fitness champion points, I am going pretty standard as well. Expert Evasion, which gives me a free roll dodge at no cost. Fortified, which grants me armor per stage. Boundless Vitality, which increases my max health per stage. Spirit Mastery, which decreases the time it takes to resurrect an ally by 33%. You could also run something else besides Spirit of Mastery. It all depends on the group you are running with. And as for my crafting champion points, I am going with the Steed's Blessing because it increases my combat movement speed. I'm going with the Liquid Efficiency because it gives me a 10% chance of not consuming a potion or poison. And I'm going with the Rationer, which increases my duration of any food or drink by 10 minutes. And I'm going for Sustaining Shadows, which reduces the cost of sneak by 1% per stage. Again, these are my setup for champion points. On the crafting side, you could also run something different if you'd like. It's really up to you how you want to run these champion points. And we have reached the last part of this video, which is Templar skill lines. For this build, we are going with Channel Focus. This is a very good skill to have, not just because it gives you physical and spell resistance, but it also gives you magical recovery. And it also heals you, and on top of that it gives you Mending, which increases your healing done by 200%. So it's a very good skill to have for the Templar. The second skill will be Ritual Retribution, which we already covered. It gets rid of 2 harmful effects, and it also does damage to the enemy applying a dot, and it also extends a Purified synergy for players around you to synergize and heal. For the third skill, we're going with Ransack because we are using it for its minor protection, also because it's a taunt skill, and it's very good for the tank. It also provides physical and spell penetration on all bosses or anything that you taunt around you. Resolving Vigor for my fourth skill because it lets a battle cry, and it's just a very powerful healing over 5 seconds, 12,000 actually. And after you cast it, you gain Minor Resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance for 20 seconds, and that's very good. And lastly, we're gonna go with Introspection, and this is from the Sijic skill line. I know it's a little bit advanced. If you don't have it, you can run Radiant Aura. I usually alternate these skill lines because I sometimes choose to run Radiant Aura or Introspection accordingly to what I'm running. But in this build, for this particular build, it could just go so well with the Shield Discipline, and that's my ultimate ability. As you can see right there in the shield, Introspection with Channel Focus, Ritual Retribution, Resolving Vigor, and the Shield Discipline, you're literally will be able to block anything, and I mean anything around you. And this is a very, very good skill. So if you have this skill, please use it, and I really recommend it for this particularly build. And as for my second bar, here's what it looks like. On my first skill, I am going with Reflective Light, just because upon activation I gain Major Savagery and Major Prophecy, increasing my weapon and spell critical. And it also damages the enemy and it reduces their movement speed by 40% for 5 seconds. For my second skill, I am going with the Blockade of Frost because it's a very good skill to debuff the enemies around you, and it also gives you Safeguard to you and 6 other members of your team, absorbing damages from projectiles. It also reduces the speed from enemies by 40% for 4 seconds, and I usually run this with the Crusher enchantment on my eye staff. For my third skill, I am going with the Purifying Light. This is a very good skill to have when just facing a boss. I tend to use it on bigger bosses, not like trash fights. This just puts a beam of light and just on a boss itself, and lasts for 6 seconds. And after 6 seconds, it's gonna burst, meaning explode, and it can damage up to 200% depending on the damage you did. None of that too, but it also heals you and heals allies near you around the area for 10 seconds. So it is a very good skill to have as well. And for my fourth skill, I am running Elemental Susceptibility. This is a very good skill to have because it just zaps enemies' defenses, and it applies Major Breach for 30 seconds, reducing their physical and spell resistance. And it also gives enemies a Burning Chill and Concussion status effect, such as Minor Brittle. And for my fifth skill, I am running the Frost Clench. This is a taunting skill, and it's very useful for the tank, and it also applies a chill and status effect, just like Minor Brittle as well. Also immobilizes enemies and inflicts major maim for 5 seconds, reducing their damage done by 10%. And for my ultimate, I am going with the Barrier because it's a very good skill to have as a tank. It lasts for 30 seconds, and you just pretty much when you barrier, you got your whole team shield up pretty much throughout the fight. As a tank, you always want to have damage too as well, and apply major debuffs to enemies around you, such as trash mobs and all the bosses around you. So it's not just about blocking when you're tanking, but when you're reaching this point of end game tanking, you're supposed to debuff the enemies as well and keep tanking and protect your group from all sorts of encounters that they might encounter. Always grabbing taunt, never losing taunt, because everything might go down and it will be chaos. Alrighty guys, that pretty much concludes my endgame Templar tank build. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I was able to help you out here with the information I was able to provide. If you do test my build out, please let me know how it works for you in the comment sections below. I will be providing more videos further in the future, such as the Dragon Knight build and the Necro tank build. This is a small clip of me just playing VDSR, so you guys can check how the build actually plays out, and I hope you guys enjoy it. For now, till the next video, thank you.